I know. I know. Okay. Hey guys, this is Tony with Backwoods Biker Magazine and Wood Tramp Outdoors. We got an email from Delbert that lives in Salt Lake City, Utah, and Delbert asked what we thought about micro or mini survival kits. Hang tight, we're going to cover that subject today. All right guys, welcome back. We have attempted to answer this question on several occasions throughout the years, and I've always pulled the footage that was shot on it, and I've yanked the articles that were halfway written because it ended up being where we were pointing fingers at a particular company unintentionally, and that's not what we do. If you ask me a particular question about a particular company, I'll answer it for you. Or if a company sends me a piece of gear, I'll say this came from this company and this is what you got, right? So this is a subject that is quite volatile among the amateur survivalists and amateur preppers because they really don't understand what is needed in a true survival situation. If you've ever been in a survival situation and you look at these kits, man, it's not something that I would want. I've been in 2 true survival situations, and I have never seen one of these kits that I said, man, I wish that would have been with me because that could have been a game changer. No, they're a false sense of security. So right out of the gate, I'll tell you that mini and micro survival kits give you a mini and micro chance of survival. Period. That's my statement. You can quote me there. And I'm gonna show you why, because I've got a few of them here. It's not that I collect these things or I buy them, because I don't. I've purchased one, and that was this guy right here, and I purchased this probably about 6 years ago, and the only reason I keep it around is to be able to dump it on the table when somebody asks me about it, if it's just a conversation or I might be in a class or whatever, be able to answer that, so this was $24.99, something like that, and it was billed as the ultimate survival kit. And so when I opened it up, and started going through the contents, because it gave a general statement. It's got a flashlight, it has some cordage, it has this, it has that. Okay, micro tool, or excuse me, a multi-tool is what it was called. And I looked at the tin and I thought, man, what kind of multi-tool could go in here? So with that being said, let me just show you some of the stuff that's in here, and I'll give you my opinion about it. There is a magnifying glass for solar fire starting. I think that's a good ad right there, and it's pretty much a decent one. Okay, the cordage is shock cord. It's orange shock cord, and there's only 36 inches of it. I can't figure what survival application this could have where it actually is going to be a game changer for you. So to me, that is a loser. If they gave you 12 feet, 15, 20 feet, now you're talking. But 3 feet, frustrating. The medical was almost non-existent. This is a stretchy, clingy bandage. You've seen these before. You got, if you have 10 feet, 20 feet of it, you got yourself a nice ad. But this is only 18 inches. That doesn't provide very much. And also, I'll say this, that not everything that came in this kit is still here, because there's been times when I've been looking at it, I just pitched it. I'll give you an example. There was some sewing kit that had like 7 different colors of thread in it. It was very thin thread and had a needle in it and a needle threader. If you know what that is, you're probably too young, but I just pitched that right away. And it had some very lame instructions, very generic instructions that would get you more confused if you didn't already know some survival techniques and have some skills. I just threw it all out. And so what's left here is just the stuff that, didn't make the trash yet. So let me keep on going. There is a piece of fat wood in here. Okay, that's a good ad, so I'm going to put that off to the good side there. And then it has a whistle in it. but it's pretty inadequate. Somebody'd have to be really, really close for you to be able to get their attention with this. That's a piece of garbage. The flashlight. This is the illumination device they give you right here. It doesn't work half the time. That they try to press it down. I'm pressing. There you go. I got it that time, right? But as you can see, it would not. Would you want to shut off the lights? No. Okay. All right. So we're not going to shut off the lights, but I mean, there's hardly any light there at all. It wouldn't illuminate anything. Maybe if you had something in your hand you were looking at, like a map or whatever, but taking you through the bush or a darkened situation, this is so inadequate. All right. And then the last thing is in here, and this is supposed to be the star of the show, the nice multi-tool. This really is not a nice multi-tool. Matter of fact, it's probably a medical specific multi-tool because it's got shears instead of pliers. You gotta have a multi-tool in a survival kit. You gotta have one that's got some pliers in it and some other tools. This does have a looks like a nail file. It has could be a screwdriver or a dull chisel. It's got a pair of those flimsy, don't work tweezers in it also. On the other side, it has a knife, and this knife is about 1.25 inches long. I mean, you're not going to do very much with it, and it's very, very flimsy. And you also have a toothpick, of all things here, a plastic toothpick that isn't going to do anything except pick your teeth. You're not going to be able to get anything out of your hand with that. But it does have the scissors, And to me, this is a waste. It really is a waste. This isn't a multi-tool. And that's all it said on the advertisement package, So I'll tell you, for people that really are not in the know, this will serve as a false sense of security. If you're in a true survival situation, come on. This is something you might give your grandkids or your little children, to get them interested in the outdoor world, So I don't like this. The best thing about this, to be honest with you, the magnifying glass was decent. The little piece of fat wood, if you had a real ignition source, because if you don't have sunlight, you can't use solar very well at all, right? No ferro rod was in here, no survival matches, no nothing. So you're going to be in trouble trying to get a fire started. Best thing for me is this tin, because there's several things that you could do with this tin. Number one, you could make char cloth out of it. Number two, you could collect a little bit of water and boil it here, enough to help you survive. But you'd be doing it all day long, because you have to have so many ounces a day of water, to be able to keep you going. It could be used as a way to collect resources. You could gather berries, nuts, or whatever in here. There's a lot of things that you could do with a tin like this, so the tin is the winner. And again, $24.99 is what I paid for this, and there's probably not $5 worth of stuff that's in here, but that's how these micro survival companies do, So now let me show you another one here. Now this one comes from a major player in the micro survival kit, and this is called, I'm not even going to tell you what it's called, but just let me tell you what is in here, and this is what they call their micro survival kit. And in this kit, I'm going to read the card for you here, and then I'll show it to you. It says it's got a water bag, 32 ounce. It's heat resistant and food grade. Mini fire steel. They're not kidding when they say mini. It's got fish hooks, split shot weights, brass safety pins, and a magnetized needle. It's got ranger bands, first aid tinder. It's a fat pack. There's 2 of those. It's got some triple antibiotic, topical pain reliever, and cotton tinder. And then it has fishing line, 20 feet of 50-pound test braided spectra line. Okay. Well, when I dumped it out here, and we've not done anything with this, okay, the first thing that we found is that there is no triple antibiotic cream in here. There was no topical pain reliever, and there was no cotton tinder, so this was not even full of what it was. But let me kind of show you here. Well, you know, Ranger bands, okay, there's a winner right there, because those are always great for a fire extender. All right, take these glasses off again. This is the bag that they mentioned, and you can collect and boil water with this, and there's a Ranger band around that. All right, now collecting and boiling water, it's a skill that is learned and must be perfected before you get out in a survival situation and try to learn that. The tinder that they talked about here, the fat here, first aid tinder, right there. I mean, that is a tiny amount. You know, again, micro chance of survival there. Now, as far as a ferro rod is concerned, I've got fairly sausage-sized fingers. You know, in the hand of a little tiny child that's like maybe 3 years old, this might seem to be adequate. But, dude, I'm telling you, you know, you're giving people a false sense of security when you tell them this is what you want to take out for your survival situation. No, the fishing kit and needles and all that are inside of here. You know, the split shot washers or split shot weights, the hooks, the brass safety pins. Those are all decent, but they are so small. You know, they are so small. It really wouldn't have too much of a chance of helping you out. And then the braided fishing line, yeah, braided fishing line. You know, I would give this maybe, but overall, all this does is give you a false sense of security. All right, so to me, that's a loser also. And then you have this gadget right here. This is called the Tiny Survival Card, and you know, when we first got these, I thought, hey man, that's kind of decent, you know, novelty, and I put it off to the side. But then we took it out and we tried to use it, and you have to take it apart to be able to use it, but you can put it back on the magnet once you do, if you want to. But I mean, again, you know, when we started using it, the first thing that we noticed that the knife bent right away. There's a saw in here, it bent right away. I mean, all the way over. The fish hooks floated on top of the water. Okay, you know, just a lot of reasons why I would not want to put this in my wallet and say, oh, you know, in time of trouble, I've got something I can reach to, because this is not what I would want to reach for. You know, it's just a false sense of security is all it is. Again, you're going to hear me say this. You got a micro survival kit, you got a micro chance of survival. Now this one, I kind of like this, and I'll tell you why. This is kind of 50-50 thing. This is called the Tiny Survival Guide, and it comes from Ultimate Survival Tips. Now you open it up, and it has a lot of different information in here. That the good part is that you could read this, sit down with a cup of coffee and read this, and you can kind of get a generalized idea on what you need to rehearse and practice and hone a skill if you don't know what to do already. You know, full on both sides, identifiable plants, you know, how to build a shelter, you know, fishing essentials, even has some self-defense and some hostage and sear scenarios, you know, the desert, Arctic, tropics, but I mean, it is a real small subject. So for me, if I were to give this to someone, I would say this is to help get you in the direction, but don't put it in your wallet and think that when you hit a survival situation, you're going to be opening this up and save yourself or save somebody that's in your party, because that isn't happening. Anyone that has ever been in a survival situation will tell you that you don't have time to read. You don't have time to go over instructions. If you've ever seen somebody have a major arterial bleed, you don't have time to open up this little pamphlet and go through it and say, oh, how do I take care of that bleed right there? You know, what do I do? You don't have time for that. You know, you've got literally just less than 3 minutes to stop an arterial bleed in order to be able to save your life or somebody else's life. So, you know, for me, micro survival kits, they give you no hope of survival. That's just me, and I'm sure I'm going to get a bunch of comments about that, but that's all right. I enjoy that exchange. I like to hear people say, I don't agree with you, because I try to read them. I do. I read those, and I try to learn to see where we're not connecting and why not. And if I think you're full of crap, I don't even listen to you, So anyway, micro chance of survival with those. So what do you do? For me, I think that you should build a kit based upon your needs, your geographical area, where you are at or where you are going, to where you know exactly what is in that kit. It's been specifically made for you. There is no micro kit out there, no tiny survival kit, no pre-made survival kit, period, that is made just for you. So, let me give you an example here. This is a guy, Les Stroud. He's a survival man. And he is called the Survivor Man. He had the series Survivor Man, which is a great series, by the way. I've got a lot of respect for Les Stroud, because he is the real deal, probably the only one that is on network television. That is the real deal. I love his books. I love his seminars. I've listened to him, sat and listened to him for hours. The guy is full of knowledge, and he's been there and he's done that. And what else he's been able to do is to capitalize on his celebrity by collaborating with different companies with knives, and he did a thing with Camelus. He did another thing with Healy knives, which are pretty decent knives. And then he hooked up with Hennessy hammocks, and they came up with the Survivor Man 4-season hammock, which we've reviewed and we have written an article on, and we did some videos. It is great. Hennessy makes the best hammocks on the planet, as far as we're concerned, And in that particular hammock, a part of the package was a survival kit that Les Stroud put together. But in truth, I'll tell you how this goes. And I know this firsthand. Because we've been approached about doing a boot knife and calling it the Backwoods Biker Boot Knife. Company contacted us. But when even the major players out there, major celebrities, when they are asked to get involved, they may say, I want this in it, I want that in it, I want this in it. And the company says, oh, wait a minute, that sounds good, but let's cheapen it down a little bit, save some money. They start cutting corners all the way around. And, I've seen Les with some of the stuff that's in the kits that has had his name on them from different people, toss it to the side and say, I didn't really like this in there. That's just the way it is. That doesn't mean to say that this had a bunch of junk in it, because it didn't. Because I'm going to show you in a kit that I built that I took some of the stuff out of here and put it in there. So my point is, just because it's got Joe Schmuckatelli on there that you see on TV doesn't mean that it is the best thing that's going out there. Bear Grylls has got another one. I wouldn't buy toilet paper with his name on it, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion, though. Okay, so now that gets to me again to the place where I'm going to tell you that you need to build your own survival kit, something that is specific to you, to your situation, to your geographical location, and what you're going to be possibly facing. Okay, and you can build them in any way, shape, or form. I brought this can down here. This is a can that my wife buys this coffee from Kirkland. Oh no, Costco. This is a Kirkland brand. It's good coffee. It doesn't matter what brand it is, but this can right here, this can could be filled with a lot of true survival scenario gear. All right, it's kind of big, but compact. You can stuff a lot of stuff in there. All right, so don't go out and buy a specialized container or whatever. I mean, you can just use what you got, as long as it can be sealed up. You can boil a lot of water in this, you can cook a lot of food in this, and you can gather a lot of resources in this, and it can hold, a lot of things, so that, I'll just tell you that's not micro, but you need to have a kit that can help you survive. So I like things like this. and this is one that we put together here, and this is a 8 by 6 tin by 2.5 inches high, and the tin, I forget where we got these from, but we got several of them, and inside of this tin is, it says 24 different items. You know, I keep an inventory on all these kits that I build. I don't care what I build them in. I keep an inventory so I can go back and I can read and I can look, because I learned a long time ago that once you build a kit and you put it on the shelf, you forget what's in there. And some of the stuff might even degrade, like food, or some adhesive things will degrade also. So I keep an inventory, and I can look at this and say, okay, yeah, that's right, that's in there, yeah, that's in there, that's in there, that's in there. I better check on that, because that might go bad on me. So I recommend something like this, and what you put in there is up to you. All right, so I'm going to show you what's inside this tin, and I'll tell you, it weighs 2.8 pounds. I just weighed it before we started this video. It's 2.8 pounds. The rubber bands are here are great fire extenders. All right, they're big, they're heavy duty. All right, they're not Ranger bands, but they work the same as a Ranger band, because they're made out of the same thing just about. All right, I won't even read the inventory on the outside, but as I open this up, as you'll see, this can gather, boil water. I can cook food in it. I could use this as a frying pan. I can use it to be able to process things on. You know, that's what you're looking for, dual purposes. You want them to be multi-purpose things as much as possible when you're putting a survival kit together. All right, so on the top here, and they're not in any order, it's just how they fit best. I have a bag of, it's, you know, homemade trail mix. I got a couple handmade caramels in there that Liz made for me, and this is enough food to last me about 48 hours. You know, and I know it's not very much, but I don't need very much to last for 48 hours as long as I am sedentary. You know, then we drill down a little bit, and of course I've got an orange bandana that can be used for a variety of things. This is a fishing kit, and while I'm going, I'm gonna just tell you what I took out of this Survivor Man survival kit. I took out this fishing kit that has real fishing, braided fishing line, washer, or excuse me, it has sinkers, hooks, and bobbers. And there's also a tiny, tiny survival can. It's like a tea candle. They don't last real long, don't throw off a lot of heat, but they throw off some. There's a lot of things you could do with a candle. So I kept that candle and this plastic bag that it is in. That's not just to hold this in place, but this is a great way to collect water. I can boil water in this bag also. So that's something I did. Here's another comfort item that I got, is a candy cane. I like to throw a little piece of candy in there because, believe it or not, in a survival situation, a little comfort, something like this, can help slow you down a little bit, get you concentrating on the right thing and not the wrong thing. Every kit should have a permanent marker in it so you can detail what's going on. If you need to, write notes on your window if you have to leave. If you're using a tourniquet, you can always indicate the time for yourself or for the patient that you are treating. A lot of uses for a pen. Of course, a Bic lighter's got to be in here. That's an ignition source. Paracord. Now this is another thing that came out of the Survivor Man, and I think there's 50 feet here, something like that. And it's decent paracord, orange. I love high-vis orange. In the same line of paracord, I have 50 feet of number 36 bank line, which has so many uses in it, it's not even funny. Okay, we'll put that right there. And you should always have a compass with you. And this is a compass that came out of the Survivor Man kit itself. It's a very good compass. Taken it out, and I've used it a couple times. And is it a $100 compass? No, but it's an adequate compass. It works, and that's what counts. Always avoid those little button dudes because they're a way to get lost for sure. Fire kit, the Wood Tramp Gear SFK1 Survival Fire Kit with the fire kit cakes in it. This one has been modified because I wanted to add a bunch of other stuff to it. I've got the cake in here, I've got striker, I've got a ferro rod, I've got fat wood in here. So I've got several different resources for fire, and coupled with that lighter, I'm going to be able to get a fire going. Another thing that came out of the Survivor Man kit is a signaling device that you can signal with. See that right there? It'll do the job. It doesn't have the peep. Doesn't need it though. You know, you learn how to use these, you don't need that peep. That's a good ad right there. Here's something that'll surprise you. I put sandpaper. This is 220 grit, and it's just a 4x4 square. And I put this in here if I need to sharpen a knife. This is great for that. If you've got a hangnail or you need to take some skin off of a wound or something like that, this is a very, very unaggressive way to do it. So I always keep a little piece of sandpaper. Aluminum foil. Aluminum foil, this is a 24 by 24 inch square. I can use this to cook with. If necessary, I could use it to signal with. It's not as efficient as the signaling device, but it can work. I could even gather water in this. I could boil water in this. Use it for a windscreen to keep the wind off of my fire that I'm cooking with. A lot of uses for aluminum foil. And I always keep a satchel of bush butter. And I know people's going to ask, what is bush butter? Please get on our channel and read about it, or watch us talk about it. You can also get on woodtrampgear.com and see what it's all about. My family has used this for years. There are literally over 100 different uses, and when people buy this, they write us and they come up with a new way to use it. But it's the easiest way for me to put it. It's the next generation fix and wax that my family's been using since 1736. Modified the formula a little bit, but I keep this here because it is a fire extender. I can use it in first aid situations, on burns, bug bites, chapped lips, just whatever I need to, to keep zippers going. If I got a piece of canvas that I need to re-wax it, this stuff right here will do it for you. A lot of uses. Of course, I keep a flashlight, but this is a real flashlight. It's not a little fake guy, all right? This one is by Olight, and it's their, S1 baton. It's a great little flashlight right there. This is a true survival whistle. You hear that? Compared to that little peep. Also have some medical supplies, but they're very minimum because, to me, you should always have a bleed bag with you. That is the major thing that you need to address. I'm not too worried about scrapes and scratches and splinters and boo-boos and owies out there. But I did put a couple bandages in there. These are the larger type of bandages. The important thing that's in here is I've got combat gauze. If you don't know what that is, research it on YouTube. And I'll tell you, Josh Inyart, the gray bearded Green Beret, his channel, he covers a lot of medical, wilderness medical. He was a combat veteran medic, so that's good. Then I also have a couple alcohol pads that would go with that. This is Celox, that is a blood clotter. This will stop bleeding very, very quickly, especially when you combine it with the other bandage there, the combat gauze. It's great. If I do need to close a wound, I don't take out a suture kit. That's foolish. That's a waste of space. All right, but I will take out skin glue that will hold a wound together. It does a great job. Okay, and of course I do take a Mylar blanket with me. This isn't a real heavy duty one. It's regular kind of what you find. It's better than most of them, but it's not real heavy duty. All right, and then multi-tool. I took this one out, laid it to the side. This happens to be made by Gerber, and it's not a commercial because I'm not a big Gerber fan in any way, shape, or form. But it was one of the ones that I had laying around, and I don't even know the name of this guy, but it has what I want in it. a pair of pliers. And this happens to be spring-loaded, which can have its benefits. And it does have some scissors, but it's got all the regular pliers. You know, it's got a couple knives in it, screwdrivers of both configurations. It's got a chisel in it. You know, so this is a very good add to any kit. All right, and then of course, you know, you got to have a fixed blade knife, and the one that I have here is from you see, it's Gear Aid, and this actually came in a battle box, and it was in their basic box, and it was a great add as far as I'm concerned, because it is a stout enough little knife that you could fit in a kit like this, and it has every feature that you want. It is hardened. It is a full tang knife. It's got a drop point blade. It's a 3-inch blade. It's got a glass breaking pommel on the back with a nice lanyard hole. It even has a bottle/can opener on it, you know, and it's got a good grip, and the sheath on it is stout. It's not going to come out of that sheath unless you want it to. But you want to have a fixed blade knife in all your survival kits. You know, just don't count on something in your pocket or, you know, something that might be hanging on your side, because you go places that you don't have a knife hanging on you. They won't let you in certain places that way. And the last thing I have on the inside here is a drum liner. All right, there's just one. But with this one drum liner, I could use it as a poncho. I could build a lean-to shelter. I could build an A-frame shelter. I could fill it with browse to get me up off of the ground if necessary, as long as it's not raining, because if it's raining, this is what I'm going to be using to keep me dry. And then last but not least, on the back side of this, it is covered in strips of 1-inch Gorilla Tape, and under one of those strips is a number 14 sail needle that I can use in conjunction with a strand of the bank line to be able to sew things together if necessary. You know, but you can pull things out of your skin with it. You know, a lot of things that you can do. But duct tape, Gorilla Tape is the brand that I like, but it's just, you know, duct tape is what everybody calls this. But you can use it as a fire extender. You can use it to close wounds. You can use it to fix gear. There's a lot of things that you can do with this. So there's over 20. I said there's 24 of them in here, but there's over 24. I just haven't updated it because I put a couple extra things in there. But you can see what I'm talking about. You know, this kit versus this kit, what would you want to have? And you know, this is going to probably cost you, this kit with this gear in it, I would say it's going to probably cost you about $35 to $40, but it's well worth it. It's well worth the difference of having one of these little kits by your side or in your pocket or wherever, thinking you're going to really be pulled out of a survival situation. So thanks again. Appreciate all that you do for us, all your support, and really dig having you write us and let us know what you think. So until next time, you guys ride free, you live free, and as always, you be safe out there.